I'm Jenny. I'm going to show you today how to make a breakfast treat called a frittata. Frittatas are traditionally European, and you think of them as something that you would only find in a restaurant, but I'm going to show you how you can make them in your own kitchen. You use a frittata pan from Nordic Ware. It has two halves that fold together. You can also make an omelet in this pan, but today we're first going to demonstrate a frittata. So I have some vegetables and meat sauteing in one half of the pan here. And to the other half of the pan, we're going to add some scrambled egg. I need to crack a few more eggs here before we do that. Really, you can put any kind of filling into the center of a frittata, and it bakes into the egg and makes just a beautiful presentation for your breakfast guests. I'm just going to scramble these eggs lightly before we add them to the pan. The pan has been preheating over medium heat for 2 or 3 minutes, and my vegetables are getting nice and brown on the other side. Today our frittata has red onions, tomatoes, some smoked ham, and a little bit of spinach. And we're going to add cheese at the very end. So I'm going to add 4 scrambled eggs here to the other half of the frittata pan. So the eggs are starting to cook on this side, and then I'm going to make sure our vegetables are all nice and golden brown on this side. And I'm going to take this side of the pan and flip it over into the egg side of the pan. I'm going to grab a hot pad to do this. You want to make sure you have a hot pad because this side of the pan is hot. We're going to push that to the center of the burner and flip. Now, the vegetables have dumped down into the half of the pan that has the egg. We're going to kind of give it a little shake down there, and we're going to let that cook. The frittata's been cooking for 2 or 3 minutes on the first side, so I'm going to use a hot pad and open it up. You can see how it's nicely cooking in there, and the vegetables are baking right into the center of that frittata. It's ready to flip now, so I'm going to grasp the pan very carefully and make sure that my thumb is holding this upper part of the handle, because we don't want the pan to flip open when I flip it over. So I'm going to go like that. Now the egg is going to go from the top half and flip down into the bottom half, and it's going to cook that side that I just showed you. So you're going to have nice golden brown egg on both sides. We'll give that another minute or 2, and then I'm going to sprinkle some cheese over the top of it, and it's going to be ready to serve. All right, our frittata's been cooking for 2 minutes on each side, so I'm going to open this up. This longer handle on the frittata pan stays cool to the touch, so you can open it with that one. You don't need a hot pad if you're touching that side. Oh wow, that looks great. Let's sprinkle a little bit of cheese across it, and then shut the cover, let that cheese melt, and then we're going to be ready to serve. All right, our frittata should be ready to serve. Oh, take a look at the melted cheese. Wow, that looks very good. Let's serve this on a plate here. You notice how the egg has puffed up and made just a really light, fluffy, and wonderful breakfast creation. This looks like something you would get in a restaurant, but you can make it in your own kitchen. Bon appetit! So here you have a beautiful Italian frittata that we've served with all the vegetables and meat baked right into the center. But I want to show you another use for the frittata pan. This can also make personal-sized omelets, so it's a very multi-purpose pan for your kitchen. I'm going to take 1 egg and crack it and just give it a little bit of a scramble. We've got our pan preheating here, and I'm going to add a second egg to this here. Just want to make sure we have enough egg. You could do 1 or 2 eggs to make a personal-sized omelet. So we have that lightly scrambled, and I'm going to add half of it to this side of the pan and half of it to that side of the pan. I am going to tilt the pan to spread the egg around, and what this is going to do is make a very nice light omelet. It's very thin. We're going to let that cook now for about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll come back. All right, I'm just going to take a little bit of cheese now and a little bit of ham and sprinkle this into the 1/2 of the omelet that we have cooking here. You can see that the egg is starting to get solid, so we're almost done cooking. And then we're going to flip the 2 halves together. Nice ham and cheese omelet, and I'm going to add a little bit of spinach for some freshness. So what we're going to do now is take a silicone spatula. Make sure you're using silicone so it doesn't melt. You can't use a normal plastic spatula. And make sure you're not using a metal utensil, because metal utensils will scrape the nonstick off of your pan. But we're going to just work to loosen up around the sides of the egg. Looks like it's nice and loose. Now I'm going to take a hot pad If you ever touch this half of the pan, you always need to be using a hot pad so you don't burn your fingers. But I'm gonna close that half onto the omelet that's cooking. We're gonna let it steam in there and just complete its cooking for about a minute. Then we're gonna be ready to eat. The egg's been steaming and finished its cooking in there. Look at that. You see how the egg that was on this half of the pan has flipped over and covered the food that's down in the other half of the pan. The cheese has all melted nicely and we're ready to put this on a plate and serve it. This is gonna come out very easily because of the nice non-stick on this pan. And I'm just gonna coax it out like this. Look at how nice that looks. That would make a beautiful breakfast presentation, and everyone can have their own omelet this way. You don't have to work with the hassle of using a saute pan and knowing exactly how to flip and roll the omelet. This pan does it for you. So there you have it. The Nordic Ware pan, one pan, makes two different breakfast options. You have a personal sized omelet, and you have a frittata with fillings baked into the center of it. How's that for an impressive breakfast?